And joining me here on the Saturday Morning Coaches Show, Curtis Norman, the boys' head coach of track at Plymouth. Man, thanks for taking the time. I know I'm taking you away
Of course.
from your class here, where your food party going on, I guess, huh?
The kids, I've got my seniors in stats class right now, and they want to have a food party the Friday here before break. So we got frozen pizzas, air fryer for some fries. There's hot dogs. There's corn dip. There's all kinds of stuff.
Well, I know where I'm going after we're done with the interview.
You're welcome to come. There's plenty of hot dogs. Let me tell you.
Well, let's talk about something a little bit more athletic. Your team this year. I mean, you the way the weather's going, you just got to be happy to see
Oh
something
my
break and
goodness.
get outside.
It's awesome. Like yesterday was in the 60s. I mean, it's still March. There's some years where we're still indoors all through right now. So yesterday, 60s. We got a great workout in. Pole vaulters just vaulted the whole day. It was such a good day. It's so nice having this good weather early right now. I couldn't be happier.
I gotta believe that your field folks are really happy because I
Oh
you
yeah.
can't pole vault inside, you can't do any of that stuff inside, or at least it's very difficult to. And
Hmm.
being able to spend, like you said, the whole practice working on stuff, that's got to feel
That's a
great.
biggie.
Yeah.
It is, like, especially for vault. Like, there's been years where we don't vault until April, and not even just April, but like a week into April, just because the weather's so tough.
Yeah.
But this year, I mean, we've got our newer vaulters. They've been on poles now for a couple weeks. It's been awesome. So, yeah, weather's been good to us. That's nice.
Talk about your off season. I know you do some stuff as the winter goes on, and people try to stay in shape or get in shape. I mean,
Yep.
how was the off season workouts?
It was a good off season. We did more running this year. There was more sprinters that wanted to do some stuff, and so we did probably just did a couple days a week. Nothing crazy. We're not going to overwork them. But then throwers came in a couple days here and there. The hurdlers just doing mobility stuff, and this is all indoors on the upper deck. So we're pretty limited with what we can do. And then the distance kids, they're always bundling up and going outside, whether it's nice day or snow day. So we did a fair amount this off season, starting up in January, a couple days a week. The HSA lets you do some conditioning and a couple days. I think 2 days a week is what it is of just some of your field event stuff. So yeah, it was a good off season. Really happy with the kids.
I was going to say, off season as much as anything is just, excuse me, seeing people want to get out and do it. I mean, obviously you're not forcing anybody to
Yes.
to do
Yep.
anything, and usually it's just guys who aren't in another sport, but the fact they're willing to come out and put some time in to make
Correct.
themselves better, that shows well to you.
Yes, and that's the big part of it is any kids that like it's all optional. We don't want really any kids. If you don't want to be here, don't be here.
Yeah.
Like we only want the ones that want to be here. Even now that we get into some of the main part of the season here, I'm also kind of in that boat now. Just hey, if you really don't want to be out for track, well then you don't need to be out for track. I only want kids that want to be here.
Yeah. Yeah,
So no, it was a good off season for us. It was a real good off season.
I think that's overlooked a lot of times in with folks that if a kid doesn't want it, there's so many things for them to do. Why would you want to
Hmm.
force them to do something that
Yeah,
that they
100%.
there's so
If
many
they don't
other
want to beat
options.
and you're not getting good effort out of them, they're
Yeah.
going to miss kind of here and there. You're just going to have problems. So, yeah, 100%.
Let's talk about the guys you do have. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure you've had a chance to. Well, you've had the indoor stuff. What have you seen there that you like?
Uh, we did do two indoor meets and nothing crazy. Again, we only take kids that really want to do the
Right.
indoor meets. And we only take kids that are in shape too, that are more varsity kids. So we didn't have a big indoor showing, which was okay. Uh, our 4x2 ran really well. They ran a second faster than we did last year. Our 4x4 also ran really well last Saturday. The 4x4 won the big school race in a time of 3:37, which they were hoping to be a little faster than that, but it was a good reality check for them. They thought they were going to come in, and this is a team of three seniors and a junior. It's Aiden Fallstitch, Jordan Gast, Ethan O'Leary, and Hunter Shipley. And they're good. They're gonna be really good. I'm hoping they can run 2:23:24 this year. But it was a nice reality check for them that, hey, you guys aren't just going to come into track right now and just be great and think that you're going to run some wicked time. Like, don't forget, you have to work hard for this. So it was a great first time. They posted a 3:37. They won the meets for the 4x4. But it was great because they weren't really that happy about it. so
Well,
so the 4x4 was good. The 4x2 was good. I ever had a JV group of kids run the 4x8. They ran really well. I was pretty excited about that one too. The one freshman and two sophomores on there that ran a nice 800 for us early season. So throwers on the throwing side of things, Hudson Davis threw over 40 feet for the first time ever last Saturday. That was very exciting. I always give out Reese's for PRs for kids, and he came to me and said, "Hey, I threw over 40 feet," and he'd never done it before, and so like it was a PR, and I gave him $2, and I said, "Hey, man, go get yourself a Reese's from the concession stand."
I'll tell you what, your team's telling you better carry Reese's with you as you go through the
I
season.
know, it was funny. It was the best $2 I've spent in a long time. So no, the season's gotten off well. Indoor was good to us. Tomorrow, some of the girls' team is going to an indoor meet, but none of the boys are going tomorrow. So our indoor season concludes next week's spring break, and we'll be heading into the outdoor season.
What did you learn about your guys over this? I mean, I'm sure there were certain things you wanted to see, certain questions you can answer. I mean, not a ton because the distances are different, and it's just a completely different atmosphere. But what did you learn about your guys that you're going to be able to take into the outdoor season?
It was a very small group of guys, but the main thing I learned is really who the leaders are on the team. Like that's the main thing I learned. Uh, like the guys that showed up, a bunch of the seniors, like those are the guys that are going to be the leaders of the team. They're probably going to be the captains of the team. Um, Other than that, it was nice to see some of those young kids do really well. And they were all so nervous. Like they were so nervous for that 4x8 race. But afterwards, they loved the relay,
Yeah.
loved that, like they ran well. And then all of them, they were like wanting to run another one this week, which it wasn't going to work out for them. So, yeah, just learning. I would say those are the biggest things learning. Just the difference between upperclassmen, lowerclassmen, the upperclassmen stepping into the roles that they should be stepping into, and then those underclassmen just getting experience right now. So,
I know you haven't had a chance to see, everybody together a lot, but talk a little bit about. Do you think you're going to be better in distance and sprints? I mean, who are your stronger performers?
sure. So, knock on wood, like I feel this should be one of our better seasons in the past handful of years. Distance and mid distance wise, Freddie Kallenberg, Ethan Pottlesack, two seniors that are great leaders for us. Freddie just went to state in cross country. They will be major contributors. And then my middle distance guys, 400, 800. Ethan, I'm sorry, not Ethan. Uh, Jordan Gast. Oh no, said the wrong name again. Hunter Shipley, Aiden Fallstitch, Utahson, Ethan O'Leary, who's going to be a really good hurdler and 400 guy. Utahson Jordan Gast, who's going to be a sprinter and a 400 guy. And now all of a sudden we've got these 400, 800 guys that are going to put together really good relays and also be able to run some really good 400, 800s for us. And I think that's where we're going to score a lot of points. The 4x1 should be good this year. They should have a good chance to get to regional. Kaylin Ellery, Jordan Gast, Brock Short. Brock Short's a sophomore. He's also going to be a hurdler for us as well. Him and Ethan O'Leary, they'll be in that 4x1 probably, and they both will probably be pretty dominant in the 300 hurdles. O'Leary last year was able to run a 42 something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but 42 seconds in 300 hurdles, that's pretty stinking good.
Yeah.
If he can break another second or 2 seconds off of that, and he might be able to be a sectional champion maybe. It's just depending on other schools and where their kids are at, but he should easily get to a regional if he can pop off 1 more or 2 more seconds. Kalen Ellery, he'll be another 4x1 candidate as well. He's a great jumper, hoping he can be 22 feet this year long jump. We haven't gotten tons of high jump work in yet for him, but we do some indoors. But I'm really ready to get outside with him and see if he can be that 6'2" jumper that I think he can be. So those are some of the main players there. Throwing, not that our throwers like are weak point, because I don't think they are. I think this is going to be a year where we get a handful of guys that are able to throw 45 in shot put, and pop off some 120 to 130s in disc. We got a freshman in discus that threw last year 160 something last year. Now that is a junior high disc, but just the fact of the matter that he threw a junior high disc 160 is pretty stinking good. So we should be much more. I don't want to say dominant, but we should be much better in the throws as well. So in all areas, I'm pretty excited. It should be, again, knock on wood. You can say things, and you never know how a season unfolds, and then you get a handful of kids that are injured. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that it seems like it would be so easy to get injured in track. I know that
yeah,
sounds weird, but I
it really
mean, it
is.
just seems like you could get injured because if the weather's cold, I
Yeah.
mean, just all kinds of factors play into that, and staying healthy has got to be tough.
Well, if you're last Saturday, uh, Fallstitch, he's Aiden Fallstitch, one of our seniors. He ran the 4x2 and the 4x4, and I had told him ahead of time. I said, "Hey, buddy, like I would really rather we just run one event." So we were just going to run the 4x4. Well, then one of the other boys didn't show up for the bus, which I was pretty mad about. And so then Fallstitch had to run the 4x2. Well, he's only been practicing for 2 weeks because he came out of swim, and so his hamstrings were just so
Yeah.
tight, so tight. So there is a fair amount of recovery stuff that we do after meets. We also don't. This is the reason why we don't send kids to. We don't do a lot of Saturday relays. You know how like in track, there's a ton of relays on Saturdays. We don't do those really because we have our NLC meets on the weekdays. So let's say we're going against Warsaw and Wawasee. That's our week 4 of NLC races. And this year's at Wawasee, I believe. No, it's at home. Well, let's say we do that on a Thursday, and then we have a relay race on a Saturday. Well, one day recovery in between is
Yeah.
not a lot of recovery in between for some of those sprinters.
Yeah.
I mean, for any of the kids, but a lot of the sprinters especially, that's a tough flip around.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
staying healthy is, I mean, that's whenever any coaches get together, you ask each other how you're doing, blah, blah, blah. Then like one of the next questions you ask is usually, "Hey, is so-and-so healthy? Hey, how's this person? Hey, they had an injury in cross country. How they doing from that injury?"
Yeah, I feel for your swimmer. I was a swimmer, and then you'd come out and baseball would start, and we'd be indoors obviously for like the first month, and that hard I'd have shin splints every
Yep.
year
Oh, yeah.
until we went outside and got on that soft grass. I feel for him.
I don't let my distance kids. We don't run indoors really, just because the cement hallways
Yeah,
and the hardwood upper
yeah,
deck. I mean, just immediately, yeah, especially I've got a foreign exchange student this year. Just had shin splints like right away, and I told him all these things and blah blah blah, and he didn't listen.
yeah. I didn't listen the first year, but after that, it was like, oh man, I'm going to have to watch this. But I feel for
Yeah,
that. It's a different animal.
yeah,
Well, let's talk about your season a little bit. I mean, obviously, you feel good about your team, but I mean, you're in one of the toughest track and field conferences in the state of Indiana. You got CMA in your sectional and a really tough sectional. You
yeah.
got a lot of tough meets ahead of you.
Yep. When we get back from spring break, we have a home meet against Rochester. Hopefully, we should be able to get a win there. The week after that, we have a 3-way meets against Oregon Davis and Triton. Again, we should hopefully get a win there as well. And then after that starts the NLC stuff, and I'm hoping this year we can get. And I'm going to be realistic here. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Hey, oh yeah, we want to win the conference." We are not good enough to win the conference, and other teams are just in track and field. It's not like you can just all of a sudden jump 6 feet. I'm sorry, throw 6 feet further, or vault 2 feet higher, or you know. So like, I would say if we can win 3 NLC meets, that would be amazing. That would be
Yeah.
fantastic. And we should. There's 3 out there that we could get, and that would be fantastic if we could be just right around that 500 mark. Our sectional this year, Bremen won last year. The academy, they'll be good. Northwood is now in our sectional as well. They're obviously good. Last year, we beat them in the dual meet, but then come sectional time, they flipped it and they beat us in the sectional meets. So main goals, as always, the number one goal is to be a sectional team champion. Not that we don't have conference goals. We do have conference goals, but the main team goal is sectional champs.
Right.
And it's a really very realistic goal this year. It really is. And probably bringing a sectional, and it's a home sectional, so keeping the trophy right where it is always a good thing. And then this year, I'm really hoping we can get a couple kids to state this year. There's some standout kids, and I'm hoping that we might be able to get them down to Indianapolis. And so those are the main things that we're looking forward to, Rusty, this season.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time. I know I've kept you from the food party here for a while.
That's
so
all right.
I'll let you get to that. And, good luck to you. And we'll get back in touch here in a couple of weeks and see how the season's going.
All right, Rusty, I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time for us.
That's Curtis Norman, the head boys track coach at Plymouth. And Mark Yoder, the head track coach at Bremen High School, joins me. Man, you guys are off to a good start. It's just got to be good to be out of the gym.
Oh, man, yeah. Yeah, yesterday spirits were high. Everyone was excited. After experiencing another mini winter there, once you get outside, you want to stay outside. And we were blessed with a brand new track surface this year. Actually, the whole track was redone this year. Very excited to host the sectional again for the girls on a new surface. So the student athletes are absolutely loving training on the new surface. It's just very exciting. So being outside definitely raises spirits and puts some joy into the training.
You still got another 2 meets in the indoor season yet too. And, just being able to compete has got to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. It was wonderful to get some times and just competition in at the Bulldog the last Saturday. We're looking forward to hopefully taking a pretty strong group to the Hoosier Relays down at the state indoor meet next Saturday. Got numerous really strong relays that we know will be able to make it on, some individuals as well. And then we've got a couple bubble individuals and relays. We're just waiting to see how those last chance qualifiers will go out. We're going to declare all of them and then hope for the best and have a lot of fun down there at the state meet. So
let's talk about the indoor season a little bit. I mean, I'm sure that it's not the same, obviously. Some of the distances are even a little bit different, but I mean, what are you looking for? I mean, what are the things you want to accomplish during that indoor part of the year?
I mean, our major focus is always the same, and that is on excellence and growth. We want to see these individuals have the opportunity to grow through competition. And so it gives us our first opportunity to see, number one, is training helping? Are we doing the right things and what do we need to adapt? Number two, what's our starting point? We work very diligently at helping each athlete set goals for their season. And, when you get that first competition in, now you know what your numbers are. And like you said, some of the distances are a little bit different and a lot of it's relay based, but it still gives us enough information that we can start validating some of that training. We can start changing some of the training. We can start looking at what are our goals going to be as we go forward to the outdoor season. And honestly, then we just want to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Those indoor meets are, very different than outdoor meets. And for the freshmen coming in or our new athletes, it's such a different environment than they'll get to experience otherwise. So it's a really great team experience. Having so many relays is always fun. Sometimes the sport of track and field can feel very individual. And so it's really cool when the athletes get to run so many relays together and really feel like, hey, this is this is a team effort we're doing here today. So having the different distances is fun. And I just think it's a great way to start off the season to see where we're at and then focus on excellence and individual growth. We know that if every individual on our team is focused on growth, then our team is getting better through those individuals growing as well.
I gotta feel like, track coaches have you got to plan early on because there's no guarantee you're going to get outside before that first meet. So, there's got to be a way that you can plan to get the most out of what you're doing indoors, I would imagine.
Yeah, it takes a lot of planning, and there's a plan A and a plan B and a plan C and sometimes a plan D. Northern Indiana weather, as everybody knows, is just absolutely absurd at times. And I've been talking to people. I get why schools are building field houses with tracks in them. When you live up here and you're trying to train it here for spring sports, you're at the mercy of the weather. And when gym space becomes a premium, and you can't even get into a gym, now you're doing hallway work. It gets pretty sketchy, and you start to worry about collisions in the hallway or too much pounding on hard surfaces, and it makes it quite difficult. So we usually have 2 to 3 plans every day. We really focus on our strength training in that early part to build foundational strength and power and speed through weights. Our athletes really appreciate that. It gets them prepared for the season. It helps prevent injury later on. So that's a big focus of ours in the preseason, where we know we're going to have that space available. And then from there, like you said, we kind of adapt based on the weather. We have kind of an outdoor plan ready if the weather allows it. We have an indoor plan ready. And then we have plan C. Hey, you know what? If something happens and gym space isn't available, how do we adapt to something else? Each section, we can kind of move different places if we need to. Distance, they have a slightly different mindset, so they get outside.
Yeah.
Usually, unless it's just dangerous to be outside. And I love their mentality with that. But sprinters are a little more temperamental, with the colder weather. And I don't like them standing around too much with that quick twitch muscle getting cold. Now you're risking injury early on. So, yeah, you're right. We have to be ready to adapt. We have to have multiple plans ready. And it makes it difficult at times, but we've had enough practice doing it. I think we've gotten pretty good at being flexible and adaptable with our training.
You made a good point, too, about injury. I mean, people who haven't had to do it, there is a drastic difference between running on a track or a soft surface and running on that hard indoor stuff. You can hurt yourself pretty easily.
Yeah, we always have to be cognizant of the transition of athletes coming off the basketball floor, straight from basketball season. Our swimmers coming straight out of the pool, where obviously that resistance is very different on their joints. Athletes who haven't had any winter training, they just took a trimester off for rest, and that's fine. So, yeah, the changing surfaces and having to go indoor, outdoor, and it's definitely not only impactful to the athletes, but something we have to consider. Shin splints.
Yeah.
We get a lot of that early in the season, transitioning. We, just a lot of care working on, training methods that improve the tibialis anterior, strengthening those muscles and making sure that the calves and the front of the shin are working together well. And our trainer, Kyle Zuber, is just awesome working with the athletes with modalities for recovery. So it is a bit of a game of, how far can we go? And sometimes people need more rest if they're lacking the training or the surface change is hurting them. But yeah, when we can get outside, man, we want to be on that track surface when we can, especially now that we have this beautiful new surface. Yeah. It's been wonderful to use.
Let's talk about your teams a little bit. Let's start with the boys. I know that you got some guys that are going to help you. Your numbers are where you want them to be, I imagine. I mean, talk about your guys a little bit.
Yeah, we like what we're seeing right now from our guys. I think a lot of people ask me, hey, you graduated this huge senior class. What's it look like for the team? Are you rebuilding and things like? And I say no, I don't think we're rebuilding. I think we have all of the things that we need in place. We have a very strong and committed group of leaders coming back from last year's group of athletes. We may not have the depth we had certainly in certain events, but we've got each event represented well. We have great potential with our young athletes who are coming in and some newer athletes. And what I love about our leadership is they're taking them under their wing immediately and making sure that they get the help and the training, just besides the coaching staff doing that, because they want to see them succeed and they want to see the team succeed. So when I look at our boys, I think we have the potential to be a very strong team, contend for conference again, do quite well in the sectional again. There's just some pieces we've got to figure out. Where do these newer athletes fit in now with some of those seniors who are graduated? How are some of these relays now going to play out differently? Who are going who's going to step up and take some of those very important relay positions and those lead positions in different events. But we're excited for that. We think we have tremendous leadership, and we have great young potential coming in with that leadership. So we have nothing but high expectations for that group of guys.
And you had, I don't want to call it a rebound season, but I mean, because track at Bremen has always been a big deal, but it seemed like last year your team really came on and was back where it had been a lot of times in the past.
Yeah, like I mentioned, just the experience we had on the team. 16 guys, 9 girls in the senior class. Those are huge numbers for seniors, at a school our size. And not only did they have the experience, but they had trained and committed. And so I think when you look at the impact that had, 2 years previous, and they got so close to winning the sectional, they knew right away what they were going to do. So they came off that year saying, hey, we're going after that sectional.
Yeah.
And they committed to that and trained for that. And what I love about what those seniors are able to do is they put that same mindset into this next group of seniors. The guys that are leading this team right now have that same mindset or building that same culture that we know exactly what we want to accomplish with this team, and we're going to put our commitment and excellence into training every single day, and we're going to make sure that the underclassmen and these new athletes are bought in. And we're going to do that the right way by supporting them and serving them and teaching them at practice.
Let's move over to the girls' side. I mean, you lost a lot of girls last year, but you've got some really great athletes coming back this year.
Absolutely. The girls are returning strength for strength in our relays and many of the individual events. I think the biggest things we're looking at on the girls' side right now is we've just got a few gaps we need to fill in a couple field events and maybe 1 or 2 running events. But realistically, the girls are returning multiple state-level athletes on our team with our state 4x4 team, some really high-level distance runners as well, and some very high-level field event competitors. So on the girls' side, we not only have a lot of our leadership back still who are leading as juniors as well. We've got highly competitive athletes back on the track, and we have some younger athletes coming in. We would like to see, if I'm going to be honest, we would like to see our underclassmen numbers grow some on the girls' side. So, we're talking to some girls that aren't involved in things right now and seeing if our young ladies can't recruit a few more of their friends, out of the hallways, see what people might be good at. Sometimes you have to do that. But even without some extra people coming in, the girls' team could be incredibly strong. And especially where you saw our success in the 4x4 last year, that relay team with the Kincaid sisters and Sarah Saloff, and now a young freshman, my niece, actually, Lola Bender, who's doing a great job with them. They're already qualified in the top 5 for that state indoor meet. So I see that relay and our other relays just going strength for strength this year on the girls' side.
I was going to say, you've got some girls that probably should be thinking about, having a chance to be at the state meet this year.
Absolutely. I mean, on the girls' side, like I said, there's already state aspirations for multiple individual athletes in their events, and certainly for some relays. We think, the relays can get even stronger, which is, might sound far-reaching to some people with the experience and how well we were doing last year, but we know that we're returning enough strong athletes with not only the experience, but also the will to train to get better. That, man, we might keep getting stronger. So, you need a lot of things to go right for that. You need people to stay healthy. You need to reduce injury risk. You need to have good weather on those days where you run your races and you're trying to get your best times. But we're looking forward to see what our young ladies can produce. And I just want to, say how proud I am of the leadership on the girls' side. Same as the guys. The way that our leaders are buying into these teammates and lifting people up. We just did our captain's declarations, a very special thing we do with our team where the captains who want to be voted for stand in front of the team and talk about why they want to serve the team. And Rusty, I was just so unbelievably impressed with the young people who stood up in front of their teammates and spoke just very pointedly about why they cared so much for the team and how they wanted to serve their teammates. It was just an awesome experience.
That sounds like an awesome. I haven't heard of people doing it that way. Is that something you saw done or something that you came up with? I mean, that's unique to me.
Yeah, no, it's something I came up with working with the leadership of my assistant coaches, both in soccer and track years ago. We wanted to make captains much more meaningful and impactful and purposeful for not just to develop, our team, but we want those young people to leave our school and retain those leadership qualities, to understand what it means to be a servant leader, to lift others up first, and grow other people leadership. And so we came up with, I kind of had this idea and then I pitched it to my assistant coaches and we worked on it. And so we do a leadership council with our team. So they can declare to be part of the leadership council if they're not quite ready to maybe serve as a captain, but they're still going to serve the role of supporting people through goal writing and, being in charge of maybe some event work at practices. And then we have kids who step up and declare as captain, and they speak in front of the whole team. They talk about why they want to be a servant leader, their experience with the teams, why it's meaningful to them. The whole team votes. We look at that vote based off of just the vote itself. We look at the vote based off of seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen. How did that vote set out? We look at the number of years of experience the kid has, and we put all that together and say, all right, how are we going to use this vote then to take these kids who want to serve their teammates and give them the best possible leadership training we can, invest in them so they can invest in their teammates. And I believe it's really paying dividends for our teams, but especially for the young people who are part of our teams.
I was gonna say I don't know how it couldn't. That sounds really special. I like that idea. Something maybe you ought to sell that to some other folks too. That sounds like it's a good idea. I think it's a great idea. I think when I was still coaching, that sounds like something I'd say, okay, I'm going to borrow that. That's going with me too. But
yeah, no, I would love anybody who wants to listen to me talk about it. I'm pretty excited about talking with it because I think it's taken what, anybody who's been around sports and coaching knows that sometimes when captains get chosen or elected, it feels like a popularity contest, or it feels like, coach wants this person more than me, so why should I lead? Or all those things that we've experienced and heard about in the sporting world. And I wanted to eliminate that. I wanted it to really be a choice where young people were stepping up to say, I want to serve. This isn't just about me deserving it because I'm a good athlete, but I want to serve. I want to grow as a leader. And I wanted to give their teammates a voice in that, to say, I support you in that leadership role, and I expect that leadership. And that's the other thing that's huge for us is we expect our team when they vote for someone, and now you hold them accountable, right? If you expect it from them and you're not seeing it, you can gently hold them accountable for that. Like, hey, I need you to step up as a leader here, and I need your help. And so it's about athletics, but it's also about academics. We ask our captains in our leadership council to help tutor people if necessary. It's about life things. It's about the people you can go to and talk to and trust because something's just hard in life and you don't know who else to talk to. And so we're really trying to make it a very purposeful and meaningful experience because we want these young athletes to be just excellent people when they graduate. Some of them will be excellent track and field athletes later on in college and things too, but we just more so want them to be really, truly excellent people when they leave our program.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time, and good luck to you this year. I'm sure I'll be in touch before the end of the year. We'll get you back on the show, and you can bring us up to date on how you're doing.
Well, I appreciate it very much, Rusty.
It's Mark Yoder, the head track coach at Bremen. And Saturday Morning Coaches Show segment, we're joined by Brian Hammond, the head girls softball coach at Plymouth. And, man, we were talking a little bit off the air. We're all ready for the snow to be gone, I'm sure.
Yeah, this was not in the cards this week for sure.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, I've got a little bit of knowledge about how people practice indoors, but it's just different. I mean, what are you able to accomplish when you can't get outside?
Well, a lot of hitting. We can get that accomplished. We can work on hitting and stuff like that. We have the luxury of having two cages at PHS. One is, better than the other. We've had some issues with the bleachers upstairs, so we haven't been able to utilize that as much. But yesterday, for example, we went over to junior high because they've got 2 basketball courts side by side. We put the thing up. We were able to run pretty much a full field. So we had a left fielder and a center fielder, and carefully I was able to hit some fly balls out there to them to simulate some tag ups and stuff like that. Things we're going to need to know going into our scrimmage this week.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you got that's a huge gym over there. If you take that divider up, you could almost get a full field in.
Yeah, I mean it's probably 160 feet across there. So I mean it's not quite as deep as you want, but yeah, I mean it worked. I only had a couple up in the rafters, so but yeah, I mean, and the other thing is when we go in the inside at PHS, we're in the auxiliary gym. We can set up an infield, but then there's not much room to do anything else, right? Then you're stuck. You got the upstairs with the batting cages and stuff. So, but over at the junior high, we were able to, the pitchers and catchers were able to go off to one side. We were able to work on some bunt coverages and some other throwing drills and stuff like that. And then once they were ready, then we went into some situations and we were able to put some, we have some non-slip pitching rubbers that we're able to use as like bases. So like, girls can practice leadoffs off of those and stuff like that. So it was pretty productive. We were able to work on some situations and stuff. So, but yeah, that gym is underutilized still, in my opinion,
Yeah,
in this town. So
yeah. Well, let's talk about your off season a little bit. I mean, obviously, you got to start what about 2 weeks ago, full every day.
last week, the
Okay.
9th was our first full day. Yep.
Talk about
Yeah,
the off
official day.
season though a little bit. I mean, obviously, you probably have workouts before the official start of the season. You're allowed to do that. I mean, how did that go? Did you get a good turnout and that kind of thing?
Yeah, we got a decent number. We had about the same, dozen girls showing up pretty frequently. I think we saw somewhere around 18 or 19 girls altogether. We had a handful of them that I didn't see at all, but we got some things done. And we were, just when we're inside in the wintertime, it's just a lot of repetition with our swings and we're just working on techniques and stuff like that. So and those girls, you could tell on day one, were more prepared than the girls that maybe weren't coming or being more consistent with it.
And also, you've got other girls that are in other sports and things like that. I mean, they're busy with other things, but if you get your most of your non-season girls out, that's got to feel like a big win.
Yeah, yeah, and the girls that are treating softball as their number one sport, right? Like they're
Yeah,
they're there every single time.
yeah.
So, and because they're there for it. Of course, we had some basketball players, and we had a regional finalist for gymnastics, and then she went down to state last weekend with to support her team and stuff, her teammate. So yeah, we had some wrestling girls go right up to the last Saturday of softball as well. So yeah, we have some girls that are in our program that are very successful in their other sports, and that's great because we love 3-sport athletes. So it just makes us more athletic and better as a program.
Talk about how you feel about how you've only had a week of practice. You can't get a huge feel for it, but I mean, do you feel like you're where you want to be right now?
Uh, I'm gonna plug honestly here. I don't know that we're where we want to be right now. The weather has played a factor in that. We've been inside more than we've wanted to be the first 2 weeks. It makes it difficult with 25 girls all in one area, and I mean, I don't even imagine what baseball is going through with their 40 to 50. So I don't think so. And then spring break, right? It plays
Right.
another
Yeah.
role. And I mean, we're going to be missing, 6, 7, 8 girls or something like that. It's just hard to accomplish what you want to accomplish. But the good news is that first week of April, the end of March, first week of April, we got one game on Wednesday. The rest of the week's wide open. So, and then the following week we have just a couple of games. So we've got time. We're going to get split up. We'll have JV softball back this year, which is a huge thing for our program. Getting that back this year is nice. A lot of these freshmen are going to get a lot of playing time on the field. So we haven't been able to separate yet and kind of dive into what each team needs to do, varsity JV. I love being combined. I want all the girls to feel like they're one program, but at the same time, sometimes we need, to be separate and we need to work on what we need to work on and they need to work on what they need to work on. So not quite where I wanted to be, but we'll get there.
Yeah, and you've got a scrimmage coming up, right?
Well, hopefully it was supposed to be today. We moved it to tomorrow. If the sun this afternoon cooperates and the rain stays away tomorrow morning, there's a chance we get it in. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, I mean, there's the tiniest chance that we play that on Friday, but I don't know. Just depending on, that's the Friday before spring break,
Right.
and so we got a lot of things to work through. So hopefully the weather cooperates. We can get out and do it tomorrow. That'd be very helpful for figuring out what we want to work on before that first game against Riley.
Talk about that a little bit too. I mean, what do you want to see in a scrimmage? If you do get to play it, I mean, what are you looking for out of your team?
So scrimmages are a lot like T-ball. You send 10 batters up to the plate each half inning, right? So what I'd like to see is we're making contact with their pitchers, and we have to bunt one time each 10 hitters. Just trying to finding ways to get in the groove. I want to see our pitchers working counts. This is where we want to make mistakes, right? So let's try that double play now, and let's see what we got to work on. So I'm looking for mistakes. I'm looking for failures,
Right.
because that's going to indicate to me as a coach what we need to work on and hammer the hardest. If we go out there and we play perfectly, well, then I guess I don't know what to do at practice the next day. But and I tell them all the time, when we're at practice, and the scrimmage is basically practice, I want to see you make mistakes and have failure, because that's where we grow, right? If we can find out what we're doing wrong, then we can fix it the next day. So
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I've also had the other side of that where you're making so many mistakes, it's like you can't even put your finger on what the problem is. So,
okay, where do we want to start?
Be careful what you wish for, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your girls a little bit. You had a really great year last year. You've got some people coming back. I mean, let's talk about some of your personnel.
So we've got Gracie Patrick back on the mound. Only in her junior year, huge for us. She had a great season last year, hitting the ball, pitching. We got Kendall Markham back behind the plate again. So we got our catcher pitcher duo back. Lexi Pike's back, in the infield, and she might find some outfield. Lily Runyon's going to be back at second, and maybe some other infield spots. Our biggest spots, to find are outfield. We do have, one returning starter out there. But the biggest surprise was what we got this year was we got a transfer student in Ivy Stackhouse from Argus. So that's going to really beef up our pitching staff. So we're hoping that she comes in and she's a nice, I hope that Gracie and her complement each other nicely. I need them to work together, get the job done. Because in softball we don't have to go by pitches or innings pitched or anything like that. So, but having two is going to be huge, right? So, Chloe Horton's coming back as a sophomore. We're looking for her to step up because we need a shortstop, and we've got some options there. So we have some holes to fill once we solidify what we want to see out of players, but there's some key players back, some good bats back. The addition, to getting Ivy was really nice surprise on Monday last week when Mr. Corbett called me. So, we got some good players back. We have some freshmen that are going to need some JV time, and hopefully they make an impact on varsity for us later in the season.
I was going to say, Ivy had a nice she did a nice job when she was at Argus.
I mean, well, as soon as I heard the name, I went and looked up the stats. So, I think her and Gracie are very comparable. I hope that they push each other to be better, and that's what we need. So we have a couple we have a sophomore pitcher, freshman pitcher that'll probably do some JV pitching and maybe here or there get thrown in up at the varsity level, but we'll see. So, I think we have a good squad. We might be a little shaky out the gates in our new positions, but if we just keep our head down and work at it, we'll find our way there towards the end.
I was going to say, I mean, you've got a lot of folks back with experience, but you're still relatively young. I mean, you've got sophomores at a lot of spots and things like that. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve here at the beginning, but it seems like you're looking at some pretty solid folks for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I'd say we're junior strong. Ivy's a junior, along with Gracie and Kindle and Lexi Pike, and so those are some big four, the big four for juniors. We got Brenna LaFoon, who didn't get a lot of time last year, who has showed up consistently over the winter and has gotten better. And I'm hoping that she steps up. She's a speedy little girl, and I'm hoping that she can pick up one of those outfield spots and be relevant for us on the bases, stealing bases, causing havoc as we like to do in the 60-foot base paths. And so hopefully Brenna's a big name for us. Senior wise, I got three back from last year, and then there's three new ones that came out that haven't played in a couple years. So we'll see how they all fit in. Riley Eisman's back, and hopefully, her bats, she's been consistent over the winter break. So her bat is a lot better this year. Jaden Eskew is a girl that came out that didn't play last year, and she's been swinging the bat well. And, we talked about some outfield. So, it's just a matter of who wants to step up and be in the starting nine and who wants to put in the work for us, really.
Your schedule isn't very forgiving either. I mean, you got, let's face it, there's some really good softball teams in this area, in this region. I mean, even in the county, Glenn has really come on and has a really solid program. Culver's always really solid. You've got a schedule that's tough, even in the non-conference.
Yeah, it's we got Riley first out the gate, and I know last year they were very, very tough. So we got Riley. Peru's always been a good program. Knox won't be a slouch. Who else is on there? You mentioned Glenn. I'm not sure what they're bringing to the table pitching wise, but I know they brought some of their hitters back. So they're going to hit the ball well, I'm sure. I think in somewhere in the middle of the season we got a date with Bremen, and we all know they're good. And of course, once we get into that conference play, we got it's just banger after banger. So what I like about it is we may not always have the best record because our schedule does tend to be on the harder side, but we normally are prepared for those tougher games come sectionals, and hopefully we'll be ready for that moment when that comes around.
What do you want to see this year? What would you consider successful at the end of the year?
Well, people always ask me that, and everybody wants to win. That's what we do it for. But success would be, did we get better from day one? Were we a better program? Are they better kids for being in our program? And really that's what it's like, right? Because most of these girls aren't going to play after they. We might have one or two that decide to play at the next level. So most of them are done putting on their uniform when they're seniors. So just, if they leave our program, more prepared for life and better people, then that's success for me. But I really would like to bring a sectional home. Yeah. I think we have the personnel to do it. It's just a matter of if they want to make that choice and go get it. I'd really like to make some waves in the NLC. I think we can be in the top part of that if we push. So, anything over 500 would be great for me. Just keeping this program moving in the right direction would be success in my mind.
Well, man, good luck to you. And I know we're going to be running into each other a few times down the line here. We got some of your games we're going to be broadcasting, so I'll be hitting you up for pre-games here before too much longer.
That sounds good.
That is Brian Hammond, the head coach of the Plymouth Lady Pilgrims. We will be right back. And Mike Huppert, softball coach at Bremen, joins me in this segment of the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. And, man, you guys just got to be unbelievably, screamingly happy at the weather and being able to get outside here.
Oh, my gosh, finally. Finally. We got teased a little bit the first week of tryouts, and then snow came, and it was, okay, Thursday looks like a window, and Thursday was probably the most perfect day of softball. The girls just did not understand what it was like to actually be out with blue skies, and ball cracking the bat and actually doing some things. So, yeah, finally out. We just got a Friday practice in. We're ready to go on Saturday, and we'll cross our fingers for Monday and Tuesday.
Let's talk about the off season a little bit. I mean, you guys are able to practice a few times during the off season. How did your off season workouts go?
Well, Bremen 2A school, we got multiple athletes doing multiple things and other classwork and things of that, activities, extracurricular activities. We'd have 5 or 6 in the weight room, and I think we maxed out a couple of times at 7, 8, or 9, maybe in the gym when we were having the open workouts doing that. Girls, that could come in, did come in, and when the commitment finally, or the date finally hit the calendar on March 9th, then we started getting 14, 15 girls in, and then we had basketball season still going. So the Eliana Grubbs and Peyton Johnson, they finally joined us once that great season was over, and we ended up with 24 girls on the team right now. Both varsity and JV, we got 24 girls that are out there this year.
That's actually a pretty good number, isn't it? Because you can keep everybody happy because you can play that many girls a lot.
Well, we can. I actually, and what we're going to end up doing, I mean, the numbers are kind of skewed. When you say you got 24, wouldn't it be nice to have 6, 6, 6, and 6?
Yeah.
But what you end up with is 4 seniors. I've got Eliana Grubbs, as I just mentioned, coming off the basketball season, headed to Cornerstone to play basketball when she's done. I wish I could convince her to play softball in college because I think she'd be one heck of a player.
Yeah.
She actually hit a home run tonight against the Wind, and I thought, okay, here we go. This is going to be nice. And she's probably had the least number of swings of anybody in the batting cage so far this year. So then I got Isabella Calatine. She's working to get her pilot's license, so she's got a heavy schedule herself that she's coming back this year. And then Peyton Reed, she was a part-timer for us last year on the senior side this year, and she's going to be part of the starting lineup. And Mackenzie Shoemaker, who, again, had an awesome season in wrestling. I never had to this is my 15th year, and I never in the last 2 years had to worry about girls wrestlers on that schedule. So this year, Kenzie decided she was going to come back after she's already committed to Manchester to wrestle next year, and she's got the love for the game back, and she wants to come back. And then I've only got one junior, Callie Millman. I guess Maddie, she likes to go by Maddie this year. Last year it was Callie. This year it's Maddie. So anyhow, she was my starter at second base all last year. And then I go to the sophomore group where I got 9 sophomores and 10 freshmen this year. So the pipeline seems to be coming. And we're looking for a decent group coming out of our 14U that I'm also helping coach this year on that. We've got 8 or 9 eighth graders in that group. So the bodies are there. I did hear that, South Bend Adams, 2,000 students, and Riley with over 1,000 students, they've each got 12 players on their team. So when Bremen can put 24 on the board, I know it's not the coach. I know it's the love of the game. So from that standpoint, I really appreciate the girls doing that and the parents, keeping them involved in activities when they can.
Well, I think some of it has to do with the program itself, too, because, as long as I can remember, I mean, ever since I came back, softball at Bremen has been, even when Chris Kuhl was coaching, she had a 5-year span where she didn't lose a conference game?
I think it was over 100 games, something like that they had won. She and Chris Kuhl and Stan Heaney were kind of the architects of the whole program. And so, following that group wasn't easy. And there were several that attempted to do it in between there. And, you get a fall off here and there. And, not saying that we're going to fall off this year. We're just going to be young and we're going to have to do things, very well. We don't have a Chrissy Grabowski that's now pitching down at Marion and Plymouth, or Elaney Nair, who caught for 4 years and hit over 500 last year. When you take those gaudy stats out of a lineup, we're going to have to find some players to fill in that void. But yeah, no, I think it is part of the program. You walk down to our field and we got the record board up there and the gold number in 2019. And it seems like yesterday once in a while. And then sometimes it seems like, boy, that was so long ago when you start doing the math. And, we want to start getting that success back where we're, claiming sectionals year after year, and then hopefully, taking it beyond that too.
You mentioned a couple. I mean, you lost two really, really good players to graduation, and I don't know that you can just fill those spots. You're probably going to have several people take over those roles.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chrissy was the workhorse on the mound the last 4 years, and Eliana got to throw a couple of games last year, and she's just such a good athlete that I kind of made her a pitcher, and I said, "You're number one this year, girl." And she kind of looked at me like, "I don't know if I want that." And I said, "I don't care whether you want it or not. You're going to the free throw line and going to make that winning free throw. You're gonna be out in the circle for me." And then she's got a younger sister, freshman, that's coming up that I got wind that she does want to play softball after school. So I'm gonna work her in as hard as I can and make her do all the things that big sis does. And so she might be playing a lot of shortstop. She can play outfield for me, and when I get in a jam, I'm going to stick her on the mound and see if she can pitch for us a little bit too. And she was on my 14U team last year, so I got a good feel for what she can do. And I got a sophomore, Lexi Mammon, that pitched mostly JV last year. She's going to be, kind of a number two for me this year, and when we need it. And then another freshman, Carter Mason, her sister Peyton Mason played for us a couple years ago, graduated, and she's a pitcher as well. So, the cupboard's not bare. The cupboard's going to be young once you get past Eliana, and even Eliana's not a veteran pitcher where, she pitched travel ball or anything crazy like that. She's been playing basketball. So, but she's a good enough athlete that, you can put good athletes. I always claim myself to be a good athlete when I pitch. So all the guys kind of razzed me a little bit about that, but I said, you go out there and try it. And so I ended up being a pitcher for, I don't know, last 2 decades of the year of my career softball, and just got a new hip a month and a week ago, and I'm out there hobbling around on the field, and I can't wait to get the pain out of it so I can start really pitching to these girls. So I'm ready to go.
You're going to say you got that new hip. You may take over and just have a second career now.
Well, the second phase of the life, or the next phase, I've never given up softball, so that might just be moved to number one. And if I could get that work thing out of the way during the day, I would have a lot more fun. But right now, it's work in the morning and day, and get to softball by 3:30, 4 o'clock, and hope like heck I've can make an impression on the girls, and they can pick up part of the game that I love so much. And I give them scenarios that I've seen over 40 plus years of playing the game, and they kind of look at me like, oh, that'll never happen. And sure as crap, the next night one of the plays happens, and they kind of look at me like, oh, how did you know that? Oh, I said I told you that last night. So
that's funny how that works. There's certain things that happen, and haven't been around the game as long as you have, what's going to happen next, and you say it, and then when it does happen, everybody's like, God, is he Nostradamus? How did he know that? I
tell you what, it's either that or a weatherman, because I have to reserve gym time on those days that it's below 40, and the days that it's no wind and it's 41, I say we're going out, and they kind of look at me like it's going to be cold, and then they're starting to take off their sweatshirts when they're running around down there. So it's kind of nice to have those things happen. I've been fortunate to, be around the game long enough, like you just mentioned. And, there's plenty of coaches that are, football, basketball, track, whatever, that they've been around long enough. They've seen it and done it, and they know exactly what's going to happen, hopefully. And you can pick up tendencies of hitters, and you start moving fielders around, and the balls hit right to them. And, they kind of say, wow, that was really neat that I was prepared that the ball was coming to me. And if I wouldn't have known that, coach wouldn't have said, hey, move 2 to the left, 2 to the right, I may have missed that one. So it's kind of nice when that little Nostradamus comes out of me, and I'm able to help somebody a little bit and give them a little foresight, because some of the times the reaction time just isn't as fast as what it needs to be, and the ball's hit and it gets by them, and they didn't take the right angle, or they didn't get in front of it quick enough or something. And if I can help them in any way, I sure as heck want to do that, because I keep mentioning it's only 21 outs in a game, and it seems like sometimes we want to give them 30, and we've got to eliminate those extra 9 if we possibly can.
Yep, the freebies are the ones that kill you.
We're working tonight. We did some scrimmaging tonight, and actually I pretty much proved it to them in that exact commentary that you just gave right there. It was, I'm telling the pitcher to be aggressive and go catch the pop-ups if they can. And the girls that are out running around not making plays for them, I said, now you're going to have to throw 10 more pitches, 5 to this pitcher, maybe 5 to the next pitcher. And, next thing you know, they got bases loaded and there's another mistake and a run scores. And I go backwards and I say, girls, if the first one wouldn't have got on with that drop pop-up in the outfield, and the second one, we'd have caught that foul ball, that's 2 outs. We'd have runners on first and second. We may have thrown a strikeout in there somewhere to go ahead and no run score. But they right now they're just trying to get. I got a feeling they're like what is it, the saying about ducks? You can't see their feet underwater pedaling the way they are. I feel that the brain is just spinning 100 miles an hour, and they're just standing there staring at me like a duck would on the water, just floating there.
Well, let's talk.
I mean, I don't want to make fun of that, but
what
it kind of feels like you can understand what I mean, Rusty, and I'm sure other coaches would feel the same pain on that a little bit.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, let's talk about your season a little bit too. I mean, it's not like you have a whole lot of games that you use to build confidence either. I mean, every one of them's going to be a challenge. Your conference is tough. Your non-conference games are tough. I mean, you got kind of a killer that you're going to have to go through.
Yeah, we start Tuesday night. Central Noble's coming over to our place, and we were fortunate to knock them off last year, but they've always been a bugaboo for us. When we were going to Westview for the sectional over there, it was one of those where, we were hoping they would get knocked out before we would get to them, or I'm sure they were hoping we'd get knocked out before we saw them. And their coaches, I've talked to him at a conference here not too long ago, and he's looking forward to the season. And as I said, we went over there and got him last year, first game of the year, and Chrissy threw a gem out of the box, and it was one of those where their bats weren't going yet. And I'm pretty sure they're thinking, okay, that's not going to happen again to us. And then we go to Fairfield on Thursday, and, they're always a veteran club. And John Skibby over there, he's, a veteran coach. He's been around a long time too. And we'll be playing on turf for the first time in a year or so. And it's going to be balls bouncing that we don't normally see and things like that. So they'll kind of have an upper edge on us there. And then we go to Northwood on Saturday, the 28th, and we haven't been able to play them the last couple of years, whether it be weather or, things of that nature. And again, on a turf field, and they got a couple of very good players this year from what I've been told. And then Westville comes to our place on Monday the 30th. And we got beat over there. We played them for the first time last year going over there. And when we switched conferences, we had to pick up games that we don't normally, or teams we don't normally play. And Westville was one of them for a home and home. And they're coming to our place. I think they beat us 9-8 in 8 or 9 innings last year. So they had a real good pitcher. And then we play Goshen and Concord before we go on spring break and forget everything we learned.
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't take it lightly either, man. You right out of the gate, you're playing every night. I gotta feel like your girls like that though.
Well, it's situation things that we are going to need to work on for that conference, as you mentioned, with Jimtown and Knox, who won our sectional last year, and Glenn's improved, tremendously, and Tippecanoe Valley had a stud pitcher last year, so. And then LaVille's going to be improved. I mean, everybody's, everybody, and even Bremen, let's just say Bremen's going to be improved. So when everybody steps it up a notch, whether you got them last year or whether they got you, you got to figure everybody's going to be improved, and we want to improve 1%. The Colts always use that, improve 1% every day, and hopefully by the time we get to the end of the year, we'll be close to, that magic number of not quite perfect, but in that top, echelon of percentile where you're playing good ball and you're not making the mistakes, and you're, hitting the ball the way you should and putting the ball in play. And and even with the conference, last year was the first real year of doing that. We play home and home with those teams. So, you get beat by them at home, and then you got to go and play them at their place. And it's like, okay, this is a bigger challenge. So you definitely want to protect your home field and, do your best you can on the road if that's the, case in point there. And hopefully you can come out of there with, 8 or 10 wins and you win that conference. And found out the other night that, the girls are leading the conference in overall sports standings. And so, we want to be part of that conference, girls championship. And, we have to play well to do that. I mean, the tennis team's going to have to play well. The track team's going to have to do well. And, we don't want to be the team that didn't quite pull it out for us. So, but we're looking forward to it. It's going to be to your point, it's going to be a challenging schedule. And, by no means are we going to end up 29-2 or anything crazy like that, like we did in 19. But if we can win more than we lose and, hang a conference banner and, get out there and do what we can in the sectional, I'd call it a pretty doggone good year.
Well, man, good luck to you on your season. And I don't have my schedule in front of me, but we got several of your games coming up here on the air. So at some point or other, I'll be bugging you again here.
That's fantastic. We really appreciate your support on that. And, it's the March Madness. And if you could see my TV, I'd turn the phone around. Mississippi State's up 3-0 on Georgia. I'm watching the SEC Network softball. So maybe I'll flip it over to Purdue at 7:30. But right now, when I got home at 7 o'clock from practice tonight in a parent meeting, that I turn it on and softball's on. So I'm having a good time with that.
Well, there you go. You can't wish for anything more. Friday night and softball.
No. And my wife just brought me food. So I will put another. I've used all 3 wishes right there.
There you go, man. You got it all set. Well, let me get out of your way. I don't want to stand in the way of the perfect evening. So anyway, good luck to you again, and we'll be in touch.
I really appreciate it, Rusty. Thank you so much.
It's Mike Huppert, the coach of softball Bremen, and we'll be right back. And Trev Parker, the head coach of the Tri-County Cavaliers, joins me. Man, thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it to give us a chance to maybe get to know your team a little bit, and congratulations on a really great run.
Hey, thanks, Rusty. Yeah, it's been quite the season. We started off really hot. I think we started season 8-2. We kind of entered a rough stretch, dealing with some injuries to a couple starters. Number 14 Atkinson, has been dealing with an Achilles strain, so he missed 4 games and was probably limited in 6 or 7 others. No pun intended there. And then actually one of our other starters, Foster, number 3, broke his elbow about a month ago, so he missed 2 games, and we actually used him as kind of an emotional spark in the second half of our West Central comeback win, and in the second half. So he was big for that, and he's played limited minutes the last 2. So it's been about a month since his elbow break. So I think we're going to use him a bit more here this Saturday against Triton. I think we're going to need him, but we're playing good basketball right now towards the end of the season. So I'm happy with the way we're playing. We're showing a lot of grittiness, and we're defensively we're locked in.
Well, what I was going to say, I'm looking at, and the gorilla in the room obviously is the record at 16-10, but at the same time, I'm looking at your schedule, and your losses, other than a couple of them, are the teams that have like 20 wins or right around 20 wins. You got a killer schedule.
Yeah, we heard that before the season started. The schedule was tough. I mean, and quite honestly, I scheduled it on purpose, to test these guys. We thought we had a lot to work with coming back, having 7 seniors, obviously. So I really wanted to. This is probably the toughest schedule Tri-County's had, at least in years. So we really wanted to test them, and we found ourselves in a lot of games. And we did drop some games we probably shouldn't have, but I think losing some of those games only taught us even more, and we were able to add more to our schemes and strategy, and I think that really helped. So, I think the losses were good for us, and they taught us how to be in battles and how to win those battles at the end of the day.
You mentioned your defense earlier. Is that what you guys hang your hat on?
Last year last year we really did. This year, the first half of the season, we were definitely more offense oriented. So, but then you start seeing these conference teams, 1A conference teams, they start to scheme against you more. Now you're seeing a mixture of two different zones and man throughout the game. So it took us a while to get adjusted, and then we started to focus more on the defensive end. We changed some of our strategy defensively, and then we added something else in. So I think that really re-energized the group, and we've really bought into defense. I mean, in the last 6 games where we've held teams below 50, in the 40s and in the 30s once. So yeah, we've really hung our hat on defense here late, which is good, which is what you want.
Talk about your philosophy a little bit. I mean, what do you want to do as a program? What do you want people to see when they look at your team?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rusty. I think number one, what we've always been big on is just being a tough team, being tough-nosed team who's not going to back down from any opponent, who's gonna grind it out. They're gonna fight. They're always just gonna put themselves, in a position to win. So I think that's what we really hang our hat on, and really proud of my guys lately because we've really shown that. So, and then offensively, I think our philosophy there is we run a lot of high IQ, high level sets and actions that you don't see a lot unless it's kind of in college and in the pros. So, we've really had to work with our guys on learning some of this advanced stuff, and they've picked it up. So, and when we run it pretty well.
Talk. You said you've had some injuries and you've survived some adversity. I got to feel like you feel that's really helped you out as you went through the tournament.
It has. I would say at the beginning of the season, we weren't very deep. As coaches, we wanted to be, but it just wasn't there at the time. And we found ourselves in a lot of close, tight battles against teams we wanted to beat early on. And so I think these injuries have obviously forced us to rely on our bench, and kudos to a couple bench players who have really stepped up and even, stepped into starting positions the last 10 or 12 games. So I think it was really good for us, those injuries, because it forced us to play without some key guys, and then working them back into the feel of things has only been good for us. So, because now I would say I can trust 7, 8 guys to really go in there.
Every coach says they want to be playing their best basketball at this time of the year. I mean, do you feel that you guys are playing your best ball, or do you still think you can get even better?
I think there's more to get better at. We're big, and we told them that after sectionals, and we've told them that this week. Keep striving to be better. I thought we were playing really good basketball at the beginning of the year. 8-2, and then we were playing really bad basketball. The injuries. You get to hear some of the outside noise. We weren't playing good basketball, and I think we're playing our best basketball right now, and maybe not on the offensive end, but I think defensively and our resiliency for sure. I think what we can get better at is getting back to our offensive firepower. So I think having Foster back will really help with that as well.
How much do you think he's going to be able to play?
I think he's been limited lately. I'd say he's maybe played 10 minutes a game the last 3 or 4 games. Yeah. I'm hoping he can see 3 full quarters. We'll see. His endurance is not the same as it was, obviously, a month ago, which sucks. But his shot before he got injured was not looking the best. And he injures his elbow, and his shooting form is starting to look better. So it's kind of funny how that plays out as well. So it kind of just depends on how the game goes, and how Triton is playing us, but we would like him to get some heavy minutes, and I hope we can.
Let's talk about some of your guys too. It looks like you are very senior heavy, and that's got to help you out too, because most of those guys, I'm sure, they've been through the fire for quite a while.
Yeah, I just found this out. The other day, I wasn't even thinking about it, but this group of seniors we have is 11-0 in sectionals. Had never lost a sectional game. So that's a pretty impressive stat.
Yeah.
Obviously, we just won our first regional school history last Saturday. But yeah, I mean, when you have 7 seniors, good leadership. We have 5 seniors that are 3 of them are averaging double digits, and the other 2 are not far behind. So very balanced. I think we got 5 guys especially that you have to worry about guarding, and we don't really care who goes off between the 5 of them, which is great. Having 5 seniors who have played together, 7 seniors who played together for a long time. They don't really care who gets the shine. They just want to win at the end of the day.
I was going to say, all I've got is numbers to look at, but it does look like you spread it around pretty well offensively.
Yeah, I think we got Drew Foster's averaging 13, Gabe Miller 12, Clayton Atkinson averaging almost 10 and 8 rebounds a game, and then Tyler Burns and Trey Foster are each averaging around 8, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, if as a coach, if you could get those 2 at 8 to 10, it'd be even better. But I'd say those are pretty good numbers.
What do you think that you do best? I mean, if you could pick one thing that you think that we do that pretty well. What is the thing you think you do best as a team?
That's a great question. I would say what we do best is kind of playing an underdog role, which goes back to the resiliency and grittiness of our team. I think before I got up here at Tri-County as their coach, I think not a lot of people had respect for them. I mean, they've won sectionals, but they didn't have the kind of swagger and confidence and to go in. They had been losing to some of these. I think 3 years in a row they had started off 0-5 or so. So we changed that this year, and I think that just them being counted out their whole high school careers, I think they play better to that kind of advantage. Kind of the underdog role.
Well, I would imagine that you're going to be considered the underdog again this week. I mean, you feel that's actually where you want to be?
I think from a mental perspective, I think that's better for our team. So yeah, I think they kind of feed off that a little bit, and Triton's a great team. And I don't think we've ever met in school history, so this will be a fun matchup. But a lot of respect for Triton, a well-coached program. Coach Groves has been there for 25 years, and he's had a winning program almost every year, if not every. So a lot of respect for the program and how they do things. So yeah, I would go in with the underdog title. I think I'm okay with that.
Let's talk about Triton a little bit. I mean, I'm sure you have watched them a time or two here on film in the last few days. I mean, when you break it down for your team, what do you break it down? How do you break it down for them?
Yeah, I mean, we've been telling our guys all weeks, Triton is a very disciplined team. They're going to run their sets and run their offense with discipline. They're going to make sure the ball gets swung around, and then they just do all the little things. Offensively, very good cutters. Have several good shooters as well, and then they play very physical. So kind of what we've been telling our guys is we got to match the physicality. We got to continue to win the rebounding battle. And then we have to use kind of our advantages, I think, offensively, maybe with speed and some of our actions to counter that. So and defensively the same for Triton. Well disciplined team. We were watching Triton last year. I think their defensive average was like 34 points per game, so very impressive. And I know they're averaging like 39 this year. So just all around very disciplined team. You have to really be composed, take care of the ball, and you got to battle.
You mentioned some things already, but I mean, without giving away anything, obviously, what are you going to have to do to get a win?
Yeah, I hate to say you have to be perfect, but you got to be close to perfect, and you got to expect a grinded out game. You got to these tournament games, they come down to grinding it out over the course of the game. Keeping the game close if you want to win, and giving yourself a chance to win at the end. So we fully expect this is going to be a battle, down to the wire. At least that's what you hope as a coach. But if you want to win, it's going to be a battle. It's not going to be easy, and it may come down to the final couple possessions of the game. So, we have to rely kind of on the way we've been tested this year, and hopefully that gives us some confidence to do that Saturday.
Coach, I want to thank you again for taking the time. I appreciate it, giving us a chance. I mean, I'm sure not many of our folks have had a chance to see you play. It was good to get a chance to get to know you and your guys, and good luck to you Saturday, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, sounds good. Thanks for having me on, Rusty.
That is Trev Parker, Tri-County Cavaliers head coach, and stay right there. We'll be right back. Jason Groves joins me, head coach of the Triton Trojans. Man, I've seen the film of the last play, and I'm going to tell you, I've seen a lot of basketball games, but the looks on your guys' faces, they say to me, oh my God, I can't believe this is working out exactly the way we work on it in practice. They knew exactly what they were doing. I got to feel like you got a drill or something that replicates that situation over and over again. And they were ecstatic they got to do it in a game.
Yeah, we actually do. It kind of looks just like we call it just a fast break drill, where we hit the guy in the middle and he passes ahead for a layup. So it is something that, it's not necessarily off of a steal, but we do have a drill that looks very similar to that. So, but yeah, just the kids just made a heads up play there and took off and was able to get the bucket right before the buzzer went off. It was awesome.
Comes down to something that I think that I see all the time, and teams that are lucky work on they're lucky because they prepare themselves for every eventuality. I get the feeling that's the way you guys run practice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, actually on St. Patrick's Day, that was, I think, one of my quotes is about, you create your own luck. You create it through hard work. You create it through discipline, through repetition, creating good habits. And so, it's funny how luck works for you when you work hard and do the right things. And our kids have been doing that, and and it's been in practice. They've been great, and so it didn't surprise me. You go in a game in that situation where you're expecting to maybe at the best go to overtime, and then you're able to get a steal and get a bucket like that. It just credit to the kids for making a heads up play.
I think it also goes to, I don't think people understand to have a season like the season you guys are having. So many things that are completely out of your control have to go your way. And it becomes essential that you take care of the things you can take care of. I mean, I'm sure you preach that to them too. Let's take care of what we have control of.
Yeah, you control the controllables. That just involves effort, being a good teammate, doing the things that we want done, executing what we want done. And, I know the kids probably get tired of it, but we are relentless with watching film and, hey, look at our angle on ball. We're not at the good angle. That's why we gave up that middle drive. And, we pay attention to details, and the kids, I think get a little annoyed with that at times, but I think they know too that that's what it takes to be successful. And so, we haven't had, too many issues with the kids buying into that, and they've been great. Like I said, and I think they've really taken that to heart, and you can tell they're learning from what we teach them and trying to apply it in the games. And that's when, you have a good team.
Good teams also survive adversity and get better. And, the times I've seen you where you had a loss or something like that, the time I see you next, you've gotten better at the thing that caused that loss. You've gotten better at the thing that caused the adversity. I mean, it's something that it seems like your team is learning from as the year goes on.
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot. Really that's the only way to grow is through adversity. And so, you're going to experience that, and it's really how you handle it, how you react to that. Do you let it get to you and send you back and regress, or do you learn from it and get better? And, like I said, we as coaches, we really, look at our mistakes and go over those. And I, like I said earlier, the kids, I'm sure, get frustrated with that. But it's really the only way to get better at what you're doing. And so we take pride in that. And, our kids have done a fantastic job of just being mentally tough and fighting through that and learning from that and having that growth mindset where, hey, we're going to get better. We're not going to let it affect us in a negative way. We're going to grow from this and learn from this. And that's how you got to be successful.
I'm sure it doesn't hurt anything that you're a seasoned team. I mean, you've got a lot of seniors that have been through a lot together. They understand things. They know what you want. They know what they want. I mean, that's got to help even with your younger guys. I mean, you got younger guys that are contributing greatly, but I get a feeling it's because they're watching the way those older guys go about their business.
Yeah, I mean, like this week in practice, it was one of those things where we were working on specifically something for Tri-County, and the kids asked me, well, what do we do in this situation? I'm like, you guys figure it out. You guys know what you're doing, and they kind of talked it among themselves, and they were like, hey, let's do this. I'm going to do this, and I'm like, okay. And so, I mean, they know what we want done, and it's just that now they're working on the little minor details of their own little nuances throughout the game. So, nice to see them kind of take ownership of that. And yeah, these kids have been through a lot. They played a lot of basketball. So they definitely know what we want done. And like I said, they've played a lot of basketball, so they know what they see when they play basketball and adjust and adapt to that. So, just a great group. You can't be successful without having good basketball players, and we got good basketball players.
You mentioned practice. Talk about practice this week a little bit. Has it been good? I mean, what's been the feeling?
Yeah, I mean, we took Monday off. We practiced at Lafayette Jeff on Tuesday. That was kind of like our Monday practice. It was pretty bad practice, to be honest with you. But I think it was because, just a little, rusty from the weekend. And that was kind of our Monday practice. But we got back at it the rest of the week, and it looked good. And so the kids are focused. We watched film over Tri-County, kind of like we did against Marquette before practice. And they saw what we wanted done. We really didn't do that on Tuesday. And I think it helped because the next practices were very good. The kids were dialed in. They knew how we wanted to defend, and it was good to see.
What do you think is going to be most important this weekend? I mean, obviously defense.
Yeah, I mean, you got to contain them. They put their head down and get to the basket. They drive the ball like crazy. They do a lot of dribble handoff, zoom action stuff. So we're going to have to be good with that, good with the ball screen. They have a 6'6" guy inside. We're going to have to, definitely be aware of him, and because, he posts up like crazy, and they rebound extremely well. And that's something we did not do very well against Marquette. So that's definitely been a point of emphasis this week. And then offensively, just the same old things. I mean, we got to get out and go in transition, space out the court, get good action, get good movement against their pressure, and take good shots.
Talk about them a little bit. I mean, that's another team that's got a lot of seniors on it who've been through a lot. They've had some adversity over the course of the year with some injuries and things. I mean, what do you see when you break them down?
Yeah, a lot of that. You can tell these kids have played a lot of basketball. They're smart basketball players. I've just been really impressed about how hard they play all the time. I mean, on both ends of the court. Offensively, they share the ball. They're unselfish. They cut really well. They get to the basket really well. They can shoot when they're open. And like I said, they got a big inside that's really, really capable. So they're a really tough team. And like I said, defensively, they're just really scrappy. They get up and pressure you all game long. And so you got to, withstand that pressure for the whole game.
Talk about your guys. I mean, what are you going to have to do to get a win? You already mentioned rebounding, but I'm sure there's some other things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the keys is rebounding. Transition defense, for sure. We got to get back in transition because they push the ball up the court. And like I said earlier, just contain their penetration. They put their head down and go. And we're going to have to be really good on ball screen and zoom action and triple handoff stuff. And then offensively, play our game. Be aggressive, but keep the court space, get good movement, and take care of the ball.
Well, Coach, thanks for your time, and get that win. Play on Saturday night. We'll be happy to be there for you.
Sounds good to me.
Jason Groves, the head coach of the Triton Trojans, and we'll be right back. And our Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week, Jenna Blake, joins me. Jenna, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank
Good.
you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about what you did Saturday. Now, your score didn't count, but it does count for something. Can you explain what the base gymnast is in those situations?
Yeah, so at regionals, I just barely missed state by half a tenth.
Ooh.
So on Sunday, my coach called me and told me that I was selected as the base. And I got to perform my routine basically as an exhibition. And it was a really great opportunity.
Well, and you missed by a tenth. I mean, how much closer could you be?
Yeah, it was upsetting, but I'm just really happy that I was able to be the base and still get to perform.
How do you feel you did Saturday?
It wasn't my best performance, but I still think I did pretty well.
Talk about the regional. That had to have been one of your best performances. Did you feel you did really well in that one?
Yeah, I think that might have been the best routine I've ever done because I got a PR and we broke the team bars record.
Oh yeah, I
So
saw
we were
that.
really excited.
I saw that every one of you had really great scores, and that was a school record for bars, correct?
Correct.
Is that your favorite apparatus or whatever they call it in gymnastics? I'm not sure.
Yeah, bars is definitely my favorite. It's been my favorite since I was young.
How did that come about? Was it just something that just clicked with you, or?
Well, it's definitely my strongest event and I just think it's really fun.
How about the other ones? I mean, how do you feel about your other skills?
Um, I'm normally the alternate on every other event,
Okay,
which is kind of a stressful position to be in, but I I'm pretty strong on the other events, I feel.
you're a junior, correct?
Correct.
Now that means you're going to have a whole off season or whatever. I know you're in track as well, but another year to get better. How do you feel about next year?
Well, I'm excited to get in the gym this summer and put the work in, and I think next year is going to be a good season.
When did you start gymnastics?
I started taking classes when I was 5 years old, and then I quit and came back when I was, I think, 8 years old.
Well, that wasn't that long off. I mean, you couldn't have forgot that much.
No.
What is it about it that attracted you to the sport?
I just always loved doing flips and jumping around, and I had a lot of energy, so it was a way for me to get that out when I was young.
Was bars always your best event?
Yeah, I would say so.
The other ones, I mean, out of the other ones, which one do you like the best?
Probably floor because it is a chance for me to show my personality. And I used to not like tumbling as much, but this season I've grown to like it more.
I was going to say, it seems like that event would give you a chance to show some creativity as well.
Yeah, it does.
Now, do you sit with your coach and work out your routine, or do you do it? I mean, how does that come about?
Yeah, we have choreography days where we go through the music and come up with all our dance moves and everything. So sometimes I'll make up some moves and sometimes she does. It's kind of a team effort.
How much time do you spend training? I mean, I've always contended that gymnasts are the best conditioned athletes of all of them because you have to have, enormous strength, but you've also got to be able to bend up like a pretzel. I mean, how much time do you spend, training?
During season, we normally spent about 30 minutes on conditioning every day, and then we practice for 2 hours after that. So it's definitely a time commitment.
Are practices kind of strenuous?
Sometimes they are, but sometimes we take it easier. It just depends on the day.
Now you're in other sports as well. Track, obviously.
Yes.
What are your events in track?
Well, I do cross country and track.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've ran a couple events in track, but this year I think I'm going to focus on the 1 mile and the 2 mile.
So you're a distance runner.
Yes,
Do you think that helps you in gymnastics?
I think it does. It takes a lot of endurance to get through a routine, so it definitely helps.
Talk about running distance. I mean, you guys that run, my nephew was a runner. Both my nephews were runners. Well, Trey Hall's one of them, and
Oh, yeah.
I was like, how in the world do you what do you think about? I mean, there's got to be something that you're occupying your mind with as you go out and run for however long.
Yeah, I honestly am not really sure what I think. Sometimes it's like just got to make it to the next stoplight or whatever can get me through.
Is
But
that what
yeah,
you just keep pushing yourself down a little further?
yeah.
So, how much do you usually run to train for cross country or track?
Well, I just got started this week, so I'm not running too much. But at the peak of my season, I run up to 30 miles a week.
That for cross country as well.
Yes.
Same amount. Wow, that's a lot of running. What got you started running? Just conditioning, or I mean, was it something that you like to do? I mean, why did you start running distance?
Well, my freshman year, I actually did cheer in the fall.
Okay.
And then during gymnastics, we did a lot of running for conditioning, and I realized that it wasn't so bad. So I decided to switch to cross country.
So you actually like running?
Sometimes.
Let's talk about you a little bit. Do you have a favorite subject in school?
I really like math.
Ugh, you math people. You like to run and you like math. I tell you what, you younger generation, I can't keep up with you. Any particular kind of math that you like best?
Well, right now I'm in pre-calculus, but
Okay.
I think algebra is probably my favorite.
Algebra. And I'm assuming you're going to go on and take a class next year and continue taking math classes. Am I right?
Yes, I actually plan on majoring in something to do with math in college.
I was just going to ask you that. Yeah, you want to continue with that in college then? I mean, have you thought about a career that you might want to use that in?
Yeah, I'm thinking of going into business or accounting or something
Oh,
along those lines.
okay. I got a son who's a banker, so once again, you math guys, I don't know about that. So, counting or banking or something like that is something you'd have an interest in.
Yes,
Have you thought about what school you might want to go to?
I probably want to stay in state,
Okay.
but I'm not exactly sure which school yet.
You want to keep running or stay in gymnastics if you go on to college, or is that just something that you're going to let go by the wayside?
I'll probably continue running just for a hobby, but not
Right.
competitively.
Yeah.
And I'd like to continue gymnastics, but it is hard to continue that in college if you don't play
Right.
on
Yeah.
a team.
Yeah. That is tough. Let's talk about your family. You have any brothers and sisters?
Yes, I'm actually the youngest of 7.
Wow. What are your brother and sisters' names?
Okay, so the oldest are twins. They're Tom and Sarah.
Okay.
And there's Eric, Emily, Mary, and Anne.
And
And then me.
do any of them have sports that they play or?
Some of them played sports in high school and middle school, but they weren't super into it.
Right. How about your mom and dad? What are their names?
My dad is Brian and my mom is Carol.
Well, I'll tell you what, I want to thank you for taking the time to let us get to know you a little bit, and good luck to you in track season. And I'm sure we'll be catching up with you here somewhere down the road.
All righty, thank you.
That's Jenna Blake, our Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week. Now it's time to announce this week's Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week, given in honor of our comrade, Tony Ross, Max 98.3 broadcaster, died suddenly a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago. It was long before his time. His legacy was one of dedication to the craft, his unending work ethic, and especially devotion to the athletes and coaches in the area that he covered is never going to be matched. That's the legacy we try to honor each week with this award. And so we'll tell you who this week's winner is right after a word from Johnson Danielson Funeral Home.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has been established in the community of Plymouth since 1879, and its staff is committed to providing care that goes beyond the expected in serving today's families who call Marshall County their home. They welcome families seeking options and alternative ways to pay tribute to someone, from burial packages to pre-planning to planning a checklist. The professionals, along with caring staff at Johnson Danielson, are available to assist your family 24 hours a day by simply calling 574-936-2829. Visit their website at johnsondanielson.com for a complete list of services. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Service beyond expectation.
And this week's winner, the Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week award, is senior basketball player at Triton, Gage Ripple is our winner. And Gage will receive a certificate, a history of the award, a T-shirt commemorating that achievement, also be a future guest here on the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. Gage is eligible now for our Tony the Boss Ross Max 98.3 Athlete of the Year Award later this spring. That brings a plaque and a college scholarship, compliments of Max 98.3 and Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Tony the Boss Ross Max 98.3 Athlete of the Week, brought to you by Johnson Danielson Funeral Home of Plymouth.